And at number 10, the college admissions scandal. In 2019, the world was shocked to learn that the government had spent years investigating university bribes. The investigation, called Operation Varsity Blues, uncovered that hundreds of parents had paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to ensure their child got into the best schools in America. Even more shocking, some of the parents involved were wealthy celebrities like Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin. Huffman admitted to paying $15,000 to up her daughter's SAT scores, issued a public apology, pled guilty, then served 11 days of a 2-week sentence. Lori was accused of paying $500,000 to get her daughters into USC, maintained her innocence, and in 2020 was sentenced to 2 months in prison, while her husband Massimo was sentenced to 5 months. And at number 9, Tristan Thompson cheats on Khloe Kardashian. Usually someone cheating wouldn't be a big enough deal to completely overload social media, but in the case of Tristan and Khloe, the cheating was so outrageous that people could not believe it was really happening. The first time Tristan was exposed for cheating, Khloe was 8 months pregnant with their child, and videos and photos showed him out clubbing with women, and even taking one back to his hotel room. But that was not all. The internet broke once again when it was reported that Tristan cheated on Khloe again, this time with her younger sister Kylie's best friend, Jordyn Woods, who was basically a part of the family at that point. Sources said that the NBA star was seen cozying up to Jordyn at a party where they made out and were all over each other. After that shocking and embarrassing scandal, Khloe not only dumped Tristan, but Kylie was forced to cut ties with her BFF. And at number 8, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, people have speculated that rich celebrities have private islands where they participate in things that normal people could not even think of. And in 2019, it was exposed that those theories were true, and a good portion of the world's elites had participated in disgusting and illegal conduct while on Jeffrey Epstein's island. During that investigation, we learned that Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and Bill Gates had connections to this island and were documented as friends of Epstein's. The ties to the royal family were the most shocking, and the public was horrified to learn that Epstein and his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, were so close to the royals they actually vacationed at one of the Queen's private residences. As of now, Prince Andrew is being investigated in connection with Epstein, and he's been stripped from the royal family. And at number 7, Jussie Smollett. In 2019, Jussie Smollett claimed that he had been attacked on the streets of Chicago by white Trump supporters, who told him, quote, "This is mega country," put a noose around his neck, and poured a chemical substance on him. Social media was set on fire after the attack and pitted Democrats and Republicans against each other even more than they had been before, especially since the president at the time, Donald Trump, was deemed responsible for the incident. However, months later it was reported that the entire thing was a lie, and he was never actually attacked like he claimed. Jussie was arrested and later charged by the Chicago Police Department for giving them false information. Jussie was then indicted on 16 felony charges, and in 2020 he was indicted on 6 more charges. He has been found guilty on all the charges, although he still claims he is not lying. And at number 6, Kylie Jenner's pregnancy. Nothing broke the internet quite like when Kylie Jenner posted a video to YouTube sharing that she had been pregnant for the last 9 months and kept it entirely secret. Not only was she pregnant, but her daughter Stormi was born before the release of the video. Rumors had been swirling that she was pregnant, and it seemed likely because Kylie stayed at home way more than usual during this time, clearly hiding something from the world. In an Instagram post, Kylie apologized for keeping everyone in the dark, but said that she wanted to keep her pregnancy to herself in order to truly enjoy that time. For her second pregnancy, Kylie did not keep it hidden and shared tons of photos and videos with fans. Some fans were even convinced that she had already given birth to her second child and was keeping it hidden because of the Astroworld tragedy. But after the recent birthday party of Stormi, where Kylie was seen incredibly pregnant, it's clear that she is still waiting to give birth, but it looks like it could be any day now.
At number 5, Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan had a lot to say about the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry interview with Oprah that became one of the biggest bombshells of last year. During the interview, secrets were revealed, confessions were given, and it gave a lot of people a lot to discuss. One of the things that was picked apart by a lot of people were Meghan's comments on her mental health before they split from the royal family. Meghan said that she was really depressed and had thoughts of taking her own life. Piers Morgan decided to pick her comments on her mental health apart and said that in his opinion he, quote, didn't believe a word that Meghan said. He criticized Meghan's mental health, and a lot of people saw that as going too far. As a result, Piers and the network he worked for faced mass scrutiny for saying such a thing about someone's mental health, as it was seen as diminishing and deflecting the severity of such a thought as taking your own life. Because of the backlash he faced, Piers announced that he would be leaving the network, but that he still doesn't believe Meghan's claim, saying, quote, freedom of speech is a hill I am happy to die on, end quote. At number 4, Chris Noth. This next scandal was one of the last ones to occur in 2021. Sex and the City actor Chris Chris Noth has been faced with allegations of inappropriate contact, and he's already started to lose a lot. This scandal is still developing because it's so recent, but so far other former Sex and the City co-stars have come forward to support the alleged victims. As for his career, he's been fired from his role on the CBS show The Equalizer, effective immediately. As he goes into this new year with this scandal, who knows how the year will pan out for him. At number 3, Chris Harrison. With every season of The Bachelor or Bachelorette, there's at least one scandal, but last year things were a little different because a pretty serious scandal broke and it led to someone losing their job. The show's longtime host Chris Harrison landed himself into some hot water last year after he started facing backlash for the comments he made about one of the contestants' past. At the beginning of the Bachelor season in early 2021, photos of one of the Bachelor contestants were leaked, which showed her in a few compromising situations, specifically of her attending an antebellum-themed party, and many fans saw this as highly offensive and racist. When the scandal first broke, a conversation was obviously sparked, but when asked about his take on the situation, Chris ended up offending some people as he responded saying that it was in the past. In an interview on Extra with former Bachelor/Bachelorette contestant Rachel Lindsay, when asked about this contestant's controversial photos, Chris was seemingly dismissive of her actions of her being at this party, and he continued to try and defend his stance, saying that he didn't want to make any comments before the contestant in question had spoken out first. Instead of helping the situation, fans of the show saw this as perpetrating racism, and so he was cancelled. As a result of this drama, Chris was let go from the show and hasn't really been seen much in the media since. At number 2, Gina Carano. Actress Gina Carano, known for her role on the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian, was exposed and cancelled for her old Twitter posts. Last year, Gina began to face massive backlash for her social media posts that exposed her ideals and opinions that many people took offense to. Though there were a few posts that garnered a lot of negative attention, such as her comments on putting your pronouns in your social media bio, the one that was seemingly the last straw for her career was a post that compared being a Republican to being a victim of the horrors from World War II, saying that Republicans are being persecuted because of their political beliefs. A lot of people took offense to this, and this led to even more backlash and to her getting exposed for her unpopular opinions. Other posts that caused Gina to face scrutiny include her tweets about voter fraud in the US, as well as posts mocking people who wear masks amidst the pandemic. Because of the scandal and all of the negative press Gina was getting, she was promptly fired from The Mandalorian and hasn't been seen much since. And finally, at number 1, Travis Scott. Travis faced a lot of backlash in the last few weeks of 2021 after the tragedy that occurred at his Astroworld concert. The rapper's performance ended in tragedy as the chaos that ensued during the concert left multiple people dead and hundreds injured. 10 people lost their lives due to the events that unfolded, and many others are still recovering from their injuries, as well as the families of those affected still trying to cope with everything that happened with their loved ones. There is a lot of footage circling the internet showing what happened that night and the madness that occurred during the performance, with people showing the crowds of people and some fans yelling "Stop the show." After the incident, we found out that the Houston police chief actually warned Travis about crowd control prior to the event, expressing his concerns for public safety. After people found this out, Travis started facing even more backlash, as fans said that if the rapper really listened to this warning, these casualties could have been avoided. Travis has spoken out several times on the matter, but each time he makes a statement, it seems to make the whole situation worse for him, which certainly is not helping his career or fame. Before we wrap things up for today, I want you guys to tell me about any other big scandals you remember from last year.
In spot number 10, we have James Franco. It's hard to pick just one scandal that changed the way people viewed him. It might have been the time he was caught trying to rent out a hotel room for him and a 16-year-old girl that he was chatting with online. Or the time he wore a Time's Up movement pin to an award show and then other actresses came forward and made sexual misconduct claims against him. But perhaps it's the most recent one in 2019 when 2 of his former students from his acting school in LA sued him for various claims of sexual misconduct. Since then, his entire career collapsed and he has been totally blacklisted in Hollywood. Even his former co-star and good friend Seth Rogen announced that he has separated himself from James and said that he will not be working with him ever again. As for the lawsuit, it reached a settlement last month in June 2021, and he agreed to pay $2.23 million to settle it, despite denying the claims and calling his former students attention hungry. Up next, number 9, we have Jussie Smollett. His scandal was was one of the biggest controversies of 2019 and is still an ongoing problem that he struggles with to this day. On January 29th, 2019, news articles surfaced saying he was in the hospital after being attacked by two men who allegedly put a rope around his neck, beat him, and poured chemicals on him. The reports claimed they were yelling racial and homophobic slurs, so it was being treated as a hate crime. The two suspects were arrested, but in court they revealed that it was actually all set up by Jussie and even showed a check that he paid them to stage the whole thing. On February 21st, he was arrested on suspicion of filing a false police report and was charged with 6 counts of lying to police, all of which he pleaded not guilty to. But prosecutors ended up dropping all the charges, which the Chicago police argued, saying that the actor got off scot-free. An investigator has been hired since then to further investigate and prosecute him, so the scandal is still not over. Cruising in number 8, we have Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you're someone who has strong feelings about loyalty, then this one will bother you. Back in 2011, a bombshell was dropped when it was announced that he and his then wife, Maria Shriver, were separating after 25 years together. But the reason why is what really shocked people. Turns out he had an affair with their housekeeper while his family was on vacation, and he stayed behind to shoot a movie at the time. But it was not just a one-time fling. It was revealed that he had been having a secret ongoing relationship with her outside of his marriage, and even had a secret child with her in 1997. Obviously, he had not been very involved in his secret son's life all those years, but has since put an effort in. The two of them now have a very good relationship together, and they even work out together. His son Joseph is his identical twin, and he honestly looks like Arnold when he was younger. It's crazy how much they look like. Sliding in number 7, we have Chris Brown. The singer shocked the entire world back in 2009 when he was charged with felony after an altercation with his then girlfriend Rihanna. Photos surfaced and showed the brutal attack, showing her face battered and bruised. He ended up pleading guilty to the charges and was sentenced to serve 5 years probation and 1,400 hours of community service. He was very honest in interviews regarding the incident and said, I quote, "I remember she tried to kick me, but then I really hit her with a closed fist. Like, I punched her and busted her lip, and when I saw it, I was in shock. I was like, why did I hit her like that?" His career has never been the same ever since then, but Rihanna ended up having a very forgiving heart. She later dropped the restraining order against him, and the two of them are still close friends to this day, claiming that she will always have love for him and happy that he is in a better place now. Making his way into number 6 is Shane Dawson. He held the title of King of YouTube for many years, but that all changed in June 2020 with one of the biggest YouTube scandals of all time. Video clips from some of his old content resurfaced and showed him saying very racist remarks and making inappropriate comments about He lost over 1 million subscribers in just 2 weeks, and the Smith family even lashed out on him online. Yes, I'm talking about Will Smith and his wife Jada. They had a reason to lash out though. YouTube ended up demonetizing all 3 of his channels so that he couldn't make money off any future videos or any of his old ones. He issued an apology video but has not returned to YouTube ever since then, and it has been a year since the scandal went down. He recently posted on social media though that he's going to make his fans proud this year, and rumor has it he might make his return to YouTube.
At number 5, Chris D'Elia. 2020 was a year of exposures and cancellations for a lot of celebrities. Chris D'Elia faced multiple allegations of sexual misconduct and harassing underage girls online last year, and though it was big news at the time, no one seems to be talking about it anymore. Multiple women came forward to share their unpleasant experiences with the comedian, from unwanted advances to indecent exposure and manipulation. Now, in 2021, Chris is facing more allegations and people are talking about it. In a lawsuit filed in early March, Chris was accused of soliciting private content from a young woman under the age of 18. Though this happened in 2014 when she was 17, she has been inspired by other women who've come forward to tell her story and seek justice. The investigation into Chris's alleged crimes have revealed that he solicited over 100 photos from this woman, but justice will be served. His actions and experiences with these young women have impacted their lives, and now they have to live with that. The allegations against Chris have damaged his career so much after he was dropped from his agency and manager, and this will probably get worse as more women continue to come forward. At number 4, Woody Allen. Another scandal that people seem to have glossed over is one surrounding Woody Allen and his marriage to his adopted daughter Soon-Yi. Soon-Yi was adopted when she was about 7 years old by Woody and Mia Farrow, and they eventually got married in 1997. When reports came out about their marriage, this took a lot of people by surprise and made a lot of people mad. Reports came out years later in 1992 that Woody was having an affair with Soon-Yi while married to Mia Farrow, and shortly after their marriage ended, Woody publicly announced his relationship with his adopted daughter. The couple have defended their relationship at every turn, especially now that the bombshell documentary Alan v. Farrow has been released. The couple remains together and they seem to be happy, but a lot of people just can't get over how this relationship began, and maybe people just pretend like this never happened because it's so unconventional. At number 3, Caitlyn Jenner. Here's another celebrity who's caused a scandal that people just pretend never happened. In 2015, Caitlyn Jenner was involved in a severe 4-car crash in LA that sadly ended with one person losing their life. According to sources, Caitlyn was driving on the Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu when she hit the back of a 69-year-old woman's car. The impact was so heavy that it sent the woman's car into oncoming traffic, where she was hit again by another driver. The woman, Kimberly Howe, passed away shortly after this incident. An investigation into the cause of this crash was conducted, and after officials looked into the crash, it was found that Caitlyn was not speeding in this case, as was alleged, and was actually traveling slower than Howe. The crash was caused because Caitlyn failed to brake in time to avoid a collision with another car, and that it was all just a tragic accident. After deliberations, the court ruled that Caitlyn would be cleared of charges against her, as the prosecutor could not determine that Caitlyn was responsible for the crash. Caitlyn later went on to sue the paparazzi in 2016 because she claimed that they had been following her that day and were partially to blame for the incident. At number 2, Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars isn't someone you hear much from these days. Recently, he announced a new single and collaborative album is soon to come, but other than that, he's not really making much news. The fact that he's not making very many waves in Hollywood these days could be the reason why people don't acknowledge one of his biggest past controversies. Back in 2010, Bruno got into some legal trouble after he was arrested in Las Vegas after a show. The singer was detained for suspected possession of that magic white no-no-snow. According to the police report, security guards from the hotel he was staying at discovered that he may have been in possession of illegal substances, and so they called the authorities to look into it. It was later found that he was in possession of nearly 3 grams of that no-no-snow, and he was arrested and charged. In order to avoid jail time, Bruno was offered a plea deal, which he ended up accepting. As punishment, he was ordered to pay a fine and serve 1 year probation. I can understand why no one talks about it because this happened over 10 years ago, but it's been so buried that a lot of people don't even know that this happened. And finally, at number 1, Blake Jenner. Blake Jenner is known to many fans for his time on the show Glee. While working on the show, he met actress Melissa Benoist, and they soon began a romantic relationship. Things seemed fine on the surface as they eventually got married, but behind the scenes, there was a darker truth. In late 2019, Melissa came out and broke her silence on her experience with domestic violence involving her then-husband Blake. Melissa released a 14-minute IGTV video where she opened up about her experiences being in a bad relationship and recounted some instances of physical and emotional abuse. One of the most harrowing stories she told in this video detailed how Blake had once thrown a phone at her face, which tore her iris, broke her nose, and has permanently altered her vision. She spoke out about the emotional torment she faced regarding the jealousy Blake felt when Melissa was on set, saying that he refused to let her have any romantic scenes with other men. Melissa tried covering up the injuries that she sustained by telling people that she was just accident prone, but in reality, she was a victim of Blake's outbursts. Many people came to her defense and condemned Blake's actions, but after this died down, no one really acknowledged it again. If there's anything we learned from the countless people over the last year alone who have exposed those who have hurt them, is that these things need to be acknowledged and people need to take accountability for hurting others. At number 10, Lil Nas X. This year, Lil Nas X made a lot of headlines. He released a new album, rocked red carpets, but also got himself into quite the scandal as well. On March 26, 2021, Lil Nas X released his song Montero, or Call Me By Your Name, and both the song and subsequent music video was hit with a lot of backlash. The song included some adult themes, as it would, but the majority of the backlash for this release came from the rapper's music video. The video had a heaven and hell theme and included Nas dancing for the devil, so to speak. You know what I mean. A lot of people didn't like the video because of how raunchy it was and because of the biblical imagery and themes. But as if that wasn't enough backlash, Nas also got himself into some pretty big trouble when he released a collaborative shoe with Mischief that they called the Satan shoe. These sneakers were a redesign of the Nike Air Max 97s, and because this design wasn't authorized by Nike, Nas and Mischief got in trouble. They also faced backlash for putting a quote, single drop of human blood in the sole of the shoe. For a couple of weeks, Nas faced all kinds of backlash, but he didn't let that knock him down. He remained pretty unfazed by the whole thing and bounced back from the scandal with no problem, but for a couple of weeks there, he became Twitter's public enemy number 1. At number 9, David Dobrik. YouTuber and former Viner David Dobrik is one of YouTube's biggest creators, but this year he got royally cancelled. Other than being super popular on the platform with over 18 million subscribers, he's also found success in Hollywood as well, since he's been cast on TV shows as a host and judge on a few game shows. However, this year David's popularity started to fall and his praise turned into scrutiny as people started to come forward with allegations of and bullying against David. Former members of David's YouTube friend group called the Vlog Squad came forward calling David out for bullying and creating a toxic environment, as well as orchestrating pranks that resulted in one friend getting hurt. On top of that, a former fan came forward naming a Vlog Squad member as the person who hurt them while they were under the influence, and also called David out for filming part of their alleged. Because of David's content, he caused a lot of controversy, emotional pain, and distress, and he's only recently bounced back from the drama he faced earlier this year. Before we carry on reflecting on this year's past scandals, why not leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, maybe consider smashing that subscribe button as well to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Armie Hammer. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this scandal by now, but this one has to be on the list because it was the first one that really blew up this year and it kicked off the celebrity scandals of 2021. Back in January, some of Armie's private messages with other women came to light, depicting the actor in a not so flattering way. The messages leaked by the Instagram page House of Effie exposed the actor for his bedroom fantasies, among other adult things, and this created a snowball effect that led to multiple people coming forward with their own allegations of misconduct against the actor. Things took a serious turn and soon an investigation was launched to look into some of the claims made by some of Armie's alleged victims. Because of the scandal and its severity, this took a huge toll on Armie and his career. As we know, no one is quick to forget a scandal like this one in Hollywood, so as a result of the drama and allegations against him, Armie started losing everything he worked for, including movie roles and representation in the industry. No one knows what the next step is for him, or even if there is a next step for him to take. At number 7, Marilyn Manson. Another really huge scandal that happened this year came from singer Marilyn Manson, and it caused a lot of drama in Hollywood and the music industry. It all started when his ex-partner, actress Evan Rachel Wood, came forward with an Instagram post calling out Manson as someone who had harmed her for a long time. In her statement, Evan cited how manipulative Marilyn was, accusing him of brainwashing her and telling her fans about how Manson had caused her so much mental, physical, and emotional pain. This caused even more people to come forward later on, including Game of Thrones actress Esme Bianco, who came forward with some of the horrible encounters that she had with Manson. Following this scandal, Manson was dropped from his music label and the LA County Sheriff's Department began an investigation looking into some of the allegations against the singer. At number 6, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This year, the annual Met Gala came back after being skipped last year due to the pandemic. We knew that something dramatic was bound to happen, but no one expected that it would come from Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. AOC showed up to the event this year wearing a white dress that had the words "Tax the Rich" written in red on the back. It was designed to be a political statement about the ongoing debate on whether the wealthiest people should be paying taxes like the rest of us, but instead of sparking a conversation about it, people instead started calling AOC a hypocrite for trying to make this statement at an event that is attended by Hollywood elites who pay 30 grand for a ticket. This became a hot topic on social media and in the news, but AOC didn't really face too much heat for it. It just made a lot of people mad, but hey, it did get people talking, right?
In at number 5, Jeffree Star. During his rise to the top, Jeffree Star has become infamous for his Twitter feuds and controversial comments. This became a serious issue though when allegations of racism were hurled his way that involved comments made 12 years ago. Additionally, he was accused of using black creators to present an image of diversity. Although the biggest person to call Jeffree out on his racism was vlogger extraordinaire Jackie Aina. She posted an open letter addressing the conflict in the beauty community and pointing out Star's continued racism. In the tweet she said, "I have not and will not excuse his blatantly racist behavior, not his past references to me in derogatory terms, his continued use of the N-word, nor his efforts to eliminate spaces and opportunities for people of color. No one in the community should feel they are protected enough to continuously say things to make black women feel ugly and ashamed in their own skin. This is sadly a privilege and one that some, Jeffree included, have abused for far too long." In at number 4, Jimmy Fallon. This year, Jimmy Fallon had to apologize for doing an impersonation of fellow comic Chris Rock while in blackface during a 2000 episode of Saturday Night Live. Discussion of Jimmy's 20-year-old skit surfaced and a video of it was posted online. According to entertainment trade media outlet Variety, it was first posted on Twitter by a user named Chef Way O'Dear and showed Fallon as Chris Rock appearing on a talk show.
Rock, now we're talking. Where is he? Man, oh man, read this book. I've seen Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and guess what? Not a lot of black folks on the show.
When the clip began to go viral, many people called for Fallon to be fired from The Tonight Show altogether, although instead, he just issued a lengthy apology, as per usual. Fallon tweeted, "In 2000 while on SNL, I made a terrible decision to do an impersonation of Chris Rock while in blackface. There is no excuse for this. I am very sorry for making this unquestionably offensive decision, and thank all of you for holding me accountable." Definitely not saying thanks to the makeup girl that painted his face black. Alright. In at number 3, Jake Paul. Whether or not you've ever enjoyed Jake Paul's content, he certainly has built an impressive fan base over the years simply by acting like a maniac and villain. He has garnered over 20 million subscribers on YouTube, most of which truly love the content that he's posted over the years. Jake already had some people beginning to hate him when he tried to sell a gambling service called Mystery Box to his young fans, but the straw that broke the camel's back, I know I love saying that saying, came when he decided to do some filming in Arizona. This took place during the riots in multiple areas around the city, and Jake found himself on camera being handled a bottle of vodka that was stolen from a P.F. Chang's. Following that, he was arrested for unlawful assembly and trespassing after multiple eyewitness accounts notified the police. Then on top of that arrest, his house was raided by the FBI in connection to the Arizona looting, and they uncovered a ton of automatic assault rifles, one of which was just chilling next to his hot tub. In number 2, Chris D'Elia. D'Elia was cancelled and has been accused of grooming and attempting to solicit nude photographs from underage girls. A woman named Simone tweeted out a screenshot of her alleged interactions with Chris, which began a thread of other women sharing their interactions with him as well. The stories were all pretty horrific considering that they were all allegedly underage at the time that Chris had sent these messages to them. However, in response to having his name dragged through the mud online, Chris told TMZ, "I know I have said and done things that might have offended people during my career, but I have never knowingly pursued any underage women at any point. All of my relationships have been both legal and consensual, and I have never met or exchanged any inappropriate photos with the people who have tweeted about me." Chris then goes on to say, "That being said, I really am truly sorry. I was a dumb guy who absolutely let myself get caught up in my lifestyle. That's my fault, I own it, I've been reflecting on this for some time now, and I promise I will continue to do better." They always promise they will continue to do better. Never happens. We'll see. Last but certainly not least in our number 1 spot, Tory Lanez. Canadian rapper Tory Lanez, whose real name is Daystar Peterson, really gained mass popularity throughout this pandemic by constantly doing Instagram live sessions. His show was called Quarantine Radio and featured a ton of content that broke the community guidelines of Instagram. That being said, he was still crowned the Quarantine King by his followers. With clout around his name now, we saw Tory hanging around with bigger celebrities like Kylie Jenner and Megan Thee Stallion, which brings us to what Tory was being exposed for. Megan was in a car with Tory and a member of his security team driving through an LA neighborhood. Apparently an argument took place that resulted in Megan deciding that she was going to get out and walk to where she was staying. However, before she could do so, Tory allegedly shot her in the foot.
So, since y'all hoes so worried about it, yes, this Tory shot me. You shot me.
Either way, Meg calling Tory out led to many of his fans turning on him, and thus another celebrity was cancelled.
At number 10, Lil Nas X. Last year, Lil Nas X made a lot of headlines. He released a new album, rocked red carpets, but also got himself into quite scandal as well. On March 26, 2021, Lil Nas X released his song Montero, or Call Me By Your Name, and both the song and subsequent music video was hit with a lot of backlash. The song included some adult themes, obviously, but the majority of the backlash for this release came from the rapper's music video. The video had a heaven and hell theme and included Nas dancing for the devil, so to speak. A lot of people didn't like the video because of how raunchy it was and because of the biblical imagery and themes. But as if that wasn't enough backlash, Nas also got into some pretty big trouble when he released a collaborative shoe with Mischief that they called the Satan shoe. These sneakers were a redesign of the Nike Air Max 97s, and because this design wasn't authorized by Nike, Nas and Mischief got in trouble. They also faced backlash for putting, quote, a single drop of human blood in the sole of the shoe. For a couple of weeks, Nas faced all kinds of backlash, but he didn't let that knock him down. He remained pretty unfazed by the whole thing and bounced back from the scandal with no problem, but for a couple of weeks there, he was definitely Twitter's #1 enemy. At number 9, David Dobrik. YouTuber and former Viner David Dobrik is one of YouTube's biggest creators, but last year he got royally cancelled. Other than being super popular on the platform with over 8 18 million subscribers, he's found success in Hollywood as well as he's been cast on a few TV shows as a host and judge on a few game shows. However, this past year, David's popularity started to fall and his praise turned into scrutiny after people started coming forward with allegations against David. Former members of David's YouTube friend group called the Vlog Squad have come forward calling David out for bullying and creating a toxic environment, as well as orchestrating pranks that resulted in one friend getting hurt. On top of that, a former fan came forward naming a Vlog Squad member as a person who hurt them while they were under the influence, and also called David out for filming part of their alleged incident. Because of David's content, he caused a lot of controversy, emotional pain, and distress, and he's only recently bounced back from the drama that he faced in 2021. Before we carry on talking about some of the biggest scandals from 2021, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Armie Hammer. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this scandal by now, but this one had to be on this list because it was the first one that really blew up in 2021. Back in January of 2021, some of Armie's private messages with other women came to light, depicting the actor in a not so flattering way. The messages leaked by the Instagram page House of Effie exposed the actor for his bedroom fantasies, amongst other adult things, and this created a huge snowball effect that led to multiple people coming forward with their own allegations. Things took a serious turn, and soon an investigation was launched to look into some of the claims made by some of Armie's alleged victims. Because of this scandal and its severity, this took a huge toll on Armie and his career. As we know, no one is quick to forget a scandal like this in Hollywood, so as a result of the drama and allegations against him, Armie started losing everything that he worked for, including movie roles and representation in the industry. No one knows what the next step is for him, or even if there is a way for him to salvage his career. At number 7, Marilyn Manson. Another really huge scandal that happened last year came from singer Marilyn Manson, and it caused a lot of drama in Hollywood and the music industry. It all started when his ex-partner, actress Evan Rachel Wood, came forward in an Instagram post calling Manson out as someone who had harmed her for a long time. In her statement, Evan cited how manipulative Marilyn was, accusing him of brainwashing her and telling her fans how Manson had caused her mental, physical, and emotional pain. This caused even more people to come forward later on, including Game of Thrones actress Esme Bianco, who came forward with some of the horrible encounters that she had with Manson. Following this scandal, Manson was dropped from his music label, and the LA County Sheriff's Department began an investigation looking into some of the allegations against the singer. At number 6, DaBaby. Last year, rapper DaBaby caused a big uproar in the LGBTQ+ community. He got into quite the controversy after he said some pretty offensive things while on stage performing at Rolling Loud in Miami. While on stage, the rapper made offensive comments about the gay community as well as HIV and AIDS, calling it a quote, deadly sexually transmitted disease that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks, unquote. He also went on to say some more homophobic things about gay men that also added fuel to the fire. Celebrities like Dua Lipa and Elton John condemned the rapper's comments and tried to take the rapper's cancellation as an opportunity to educate the public on what DaBaby said, how it's wrong, and also put an effort into trying to educate the public specifically on HIV and AIDS to put the stigma spread by DaBaby's comments to rest. Because of this scandal, the rapper was cancelled, faced massive backlash, and lost a lot of support as well. At number 5, Chrissy Teigen. For Chrissy Teigen, the internet hasn't been the greatest place to be after she got cancelled for bullying Courtney Stodden when they were younger. Chrissy had some old tweets and DMs leaked which showed some very offensive messages to Courtney from back when they were still a teenager. Courtney rose to fame after they married Doug Hutchison when they were still very young, and this sparked international attention and also seemingly saw Chrissy turn into a very mean person as they allegedly sent a number of hateful messages to Courtney. Courtney spoke out about how they received such hateful messages from Chrissy, where they said that these hateful messages and harassment that they received from Chrissy back then came during a very hard time in their life and didn't really help them navigate the pain that they were feeling at the time. Chrissy has since apologized to Courtney for her actions, but after seeing many of the messages and tweets, a lot of fans aren't quick to forget what Chrissy has done. Chrissy has even started losing work because of this, so this scandal isn't done affecting her life just yet. At number 4, DaBaby. This one is still fairly new, but rapper DaBaby is the latest celebrity to be cancelled, and this controversy comes after he said some pretty offensive things while on stage performing at Rolling Loud in Miami. While on stage, the rapper made some comments about the gay community as well as HIV and AIDS, calling it a quote, deadly sexually transmitted disease that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks, end quote. He also went on to say some more homophobic things about gay men to add fuel to the fire. Celebrities like Dua Lipa and Elton John have condemned the rapper's comments and tried to educate the public on what DaBaby said, how it was wrong, and are trying to educate the public specifically on HIV and AIDS to put the stigma spread by DaBaby's comments to rest. Because of the scandal, the rapper is in some deep trouble with a lot of fans, especially those in the LGBT community. At number 3, Bill and Melinda Gates. Another celebrity breakup that caused quite the scandal was that between Bill and Melinda Gates. The Microsoft co-founder and his philanthropist wife recently announced to the public that they had made the difficult decision to separate, ending their marriage of 27 years. Together, the couple have 3 adult children and even created a foundation together, which they launched back in 2000. The couple released a statement on social media that read, quote, "After a great deal of thought and a lot of work in our relationship, we have made the decision to end our marriage. Over the last 27 years, we have raised 3 incredible children and built a foundation that works all over the world to enable people to live healthy, productive lives. We continue to share a belief in that mission, but we no longer believe we can grow together as a couple in the next phase of our lives." After they announced their separation, people started wondering why they called it quits, and it was alleged that this idea to divorce started years ago as Melinda put things in order to leave her husband after he got too close to Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of drama and scandal came out of a simple divorce, but we'll just have to wait and see what's next. At number 2, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Earlier this year, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry sat down for an exclusive interview with Oprah where they went in depth about their split from the royal family as well as their feelings of having been a part of it. A lot of information was shared as they opened up a lot about their life, and it ended up causing quite the controversy. The couple spoke a lot about their perspective in the royal family, speaking out about their mental health, and Meghan even opened up saying that there was a time where she wanted to take her own life. That last comment is what really caused a stir as people started questioning her mental health and whether that statement was actually true or not. The biggest debate came from TV presenter Piers Morgan, and he had a lot to say about Meghan and the interview, so much so that he ended up losing his job because he went overboard with the criticisms and hate. This interview was just supposed to be a casual thing, but because of all the information that was shared that day, it blew up into a huge scandal that was in the news for weeks. And finally, at number 1, Britney Spears. Probably the biggest scandal to come out this year is the Free Britney movement and the drama surrounding her conservatorship. Basically, after that Britney Spears documentary was released months ago, people really got to see what Britney's life was like behind the scenes and how the people around her led to where she is today. The biggest concern with this movement is regarding her conservatorship, as the public learned what the singer can and cannot do. Many people are saying that this hold on her life is too extreme, and there's a battle to get her out of her conservatorship held by her father Jamie. It seems as though every week there is a development in that whole battle, but hopefully the next development we see is a truly free Britney. Now, I want you guys to tell me which scandal on this list surprised you the most. Between the divorces, people being exposed, and just regular old backlash, a lot has gone on, so let me know your thoughts on these scandals down in the comments. At number 10, Chris Brown. Chris Brown has had a rocky past. There have been a lot of scandals we've talked about, like his 2009 Rihanna incident, and even the time he got banned from the gym. But there's another scandal that people don't talk about and pretend like it never happened. In 2016, the singer actually got into a day-long standoff with SWAT. This all came about after Chris allegedly pointed a firearm at a woman. She tried to run away, but Chris told her that she could leave and have her personal possessions back if she agreed to sign a non-disclosure agreement and forget the whole thing. She refused and ran away. Chris followed her in his car, but the woman was able to hide in a neighbor's backyard. Eventually, the police were called about the incident, but Chris refused to let the police in his home without a warrant, so they set up camp. Chris went on to have a standoff with them. Helicopters flew overhead, and it was a big to-do. Eventually, Chris was arrested, and the whole ordeal just sort of blew over, but I'm surprised that no one talks about this anymore. At number 9, Hugh Grant. The world was shocked when news broke of Hugh Grant's arrest in the summer of 1995, but not shocked enough to keep this scandal alive. People pretend like this scandal never happened. Hugh was arrested after picking up a sex worker and asking for a pleasure favor, if you catch my drift here. He was picked up by officers shortly after meeting her, and soon his mugshot was on the cover of every tabloid. Hugh ended up releasing a statement apologizing to his girlfriend Liz, but soon the heat was turned up again after the woman he met with that night spilled the beans on their whole encounter, claiming that Hugh told her that he, quote, always wanted to sleep with a black woman, end quote. In the end, Hugh didn't have many legal repercussions, only having to pay a $1,000 fine. Let me know though if you know about the scandal and why you think no one really talks about it anymore. I mean, people bring up old scandals all the time, so why has this one remained buried for so long? Before I carry on with the list, I'd like to quickly ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also go and check out my gaming channel, Viper Girl, if that piques your interest as well. At number 8, O.J. Simpson. You know, after being acquitted of a severe criminal charge, you'd think that your best bet would be to lay low for a while until things blow over so you can just move on with your life, right? Well, not O.J. Simpson. In 1994, after he was found not guilty of killing his ex-wife, O.J. thought it was a bright idea to write a book. Not just any kind of book though. A creative masterpiece of a book that was a fictional narrative of the crimes he was just acquitted of. Now you're probably thinking, well, that's basically every true crime book in a nutshell. But no. This book was told from O.J.'s point of view if he was the killer. The book, called If I Did It, was met with a lot of controversy and backlash because of how insensitive it was to the victims and their families. To make matters worse for him, it also made people think that he was really guilty of the crimes because of the details of the book. Things just fit together suspiciously well, and it made people think that O.J. was just bragging about having gotten away with this crime. On top of that, it was supposed to get a TV adaptation, but it was all scrapped after the backlash he and his ghostwriter got became too much. This is probably the dumbest move you can make after being fresh out of a highly publicized case where you almost went to jail. The fact that people just forgot about this is beyond me. At number 7, Jeremy Meeks. Now I really want your opinion on this next one because there's just something a little bizarre about how this guy rose to fame and no one's really talking about it. Jeremy Meeks is an actor and model who rose to fame because one of his mugshots went viral. Yes, I said mugshots. This guy was dubbed the hot felon and has been able to turn his life around thanks to becoming a meme. Before becoming the famous model he is today, however, he was in and out of prison for years. In the past, he's been charged with robbery, possession of a firearm, and resisting arrest. In total, he spent over 9 years in prison. In 2014, when Jeremy was arrested, this mugshot that he received was the one that caused him to become a meme and rise to fame. His last time in prison was in 2016, and since then, he's turned his life around and has risen to fame. Some people think that his rise to fame needs to be more talked about because he's been found guilty of violent crimes in the past, but no one really acknowledges that anymore. Is that something that should be discussed, or should we just pretend like it never happened? At number 6, Cardi B. In 2019, when rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine took the stand, he threw a lot of people under the bus. People in the rap community, as well as some fans, see Tekashi as a snitch now because of all the information he gave while on trial. One aspect of that trial that pretty much everyone has glossed over is the fact that he revealed that Cardi B was part of a notorious gang as a teenager. It was revealed in court that Cardi was a part of the Bloods gang. A representative from Cardi's label insisted that this information was untrue, probably just to protect her image, but in a 2018 interview, Cardi revealed that she had been in a gang as a teenager, so it looks like this could actually be true information. Either way, I don't think anyone will see Cardi in a different light because of this, but it's still crazy to think that we completely glossed over this scandal and no one talks about it.
Halfway through at number 5 is James Charles. Earlier this year, he faced a ton of backlash after allegations came forward from 2 underage men who claimed that James had been talking to them and having inappropriate conversations with them on social media. The claims came with screenshots of flirty messages from the YouTuber, but James said that they told him they were 18 years old. People were very upset because they said that he should have known simply by looking at their Instagram pages, where you could tell because they were posting things from high school and stuff. Despite claiming they lied about their age, he agreed that he should be more responsible, especially as someone with a big platform. The worst part is this isn't the first scandal he's been involved in, with younger teens claiming that he was speaking to them inappropriately online. He has denied some of the claims from previous incidents, but this time he did take responsibility for his actions, and after months of not posting videos, he finally made his return this week. Taking over the number 4 spot is Matt Lauer. He was living his best life as the co-anchor on the Today Show, but in 2017 he was fired from the show and his entire career came crumbling down. A woman named Brooke Nevels was an employee on the show also, and filed complaints against Matt for misconduct and assault. Ronan Farrow wrote a book called Catch and Kill, and in the book it featured a very open and detailed interview with Brooke about the allegations. The interview revealed very disturbing details about the incident of a time he allegedly forced himself on her in 2014 in his hotel room. Now this is just a very light way of referencing what happened because of YouTube's policies. I can't go into it. I am not trying to undermine the very serious claims. Within 24 hours of the story coming out, he was fired from the show, and more allegations allegations came to surface from other women. Matt denied all of these claims, saying that the encounter between him and Brooke was consensual, and he was married at the time of this incident, and because of the affair, his divorce was officially finalized in 2019. Rolling into number 3 is Harvey Weinstein. His entire life changed back in 2017 at the start of his sexual assault case, which lasted a few years and is still ongoing at the time of this recording. It began when the New York Times published a story detailing decades of allegations against him for misconduct. Some of the claims coming from his employees, and some of them even coming from other actresses in Hollywood, like Rose McGowan and Ashley Judd. As the years went on, more and more allegations came to surface, and he lost his whole career and reputation in the Hollywood industry. In 2020, he finally got his sentencing after a long legal battle, and he is currently serving his 23-year term in prison. Updates on his case came though just a few days ago on July 20th, when reports revealed he was extradited from New York to Los Angeles to face additional charges. His lawyers had tried to negotiate to stop the transfer, but the judge approved it. We will see what happens with these charges. He could be facing even more years added to his term. Swiping our number 2 spot is Woody Allen. Before his scandal came to surface, he was known as a legendary film director, actor, and comedian. His career has successfully lasted more than 6 decades, but that all changed when the world found out he was in a romantic relationship with his wife's adopted daughter, who was much younger than him. A documentary came out this year called Allen vs. Farrow, referring to his now ex-wife Mia Farrow. The documentary uncovers how she found out about their secret relationship and the damage it has done to their family. But the documentary also revealed that he had allegedly assaulted her other daughter, Dylan Farrow. The documentary explores all the very disturbing details of their marriage and the allegations and the legal battles they have faced. Woody continues to say that the claims within the documentary are not true, and only admitted to falling in love with her adopted daughter when she was legal of age. But that is the big debate of this entire scandal, just how old she was when things started between them, not to mention it's freaking weird. In our number 1 spot is Bill Cosby. He was once one of the biggest actors in Hollywood until he was accused by more than 50 people for sexual assault and misconduct. The allegations started to surface in 2014 and reference claims that went back as far as 1965 and spanned to 2008. He was battling all of these horrific allegations for years, but was found guilty on April 26, 2018 for 3 counts of aggravated assault. Then on September 25, 2018, he was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in state prison, plus fines of $25,000 and $43,000. However, the world is currently in a frenzy because news broke that he was just released from prison due to process violation at his 2018 trial, which overturned his conviction. The prosecutor, Kevin Steele, said in a statement, I quote, "Mr. Cosby was found guilty by a jury and now goes free on a procedural issue that is irrelevant to the facts of the crime." Whatever that means. Obviously, many people do not agree with this and think that he just got out because of his celebrity status.
In at number 10, Kanye West. The word disaster is really the only true way to describe the Kanye West rally in South Carolina. With the year of our Lord 2020 shaved into the back of his head whilst wearing a flak jacket that read security, Kanye rambled about his campaign for about an hour. This was his very first presidential campaign rally, which was held in South Carolina, as I mentioned earlier, under his political banner called the Birthday Party. Then Kanye said that all Harriet Tubman did was free the slaves so that they could become slaves to other white people. It was a rally filled with controversies, but the biggest moment was when Kanye broke down into tears as he openly told the crowd that he nearly aborted his own daughter. This clearly was a sensitive subject for him and left the crowd absolutely baffled. Following this, Kanye would continue to make headlines as many political opponents accused him of trying to split the vote. In at number 9, Ellen DeGeneres. A huge revelation that came out of 2020 was that TV's self-proclaimed Queen of Nice wasn't as good as people once thought. Following a man on Twitter named Kevin Porter tweeting, "Right now we all need a little kindness, you know, like Ellen DeGeneres always talks about. She's also notoriously one of the meanest people alive. Respond to this with the most insane stories you've heard about Ellen being mean, and I'll match everyone with $2 to LA Food Bank." Following this, a ton of scandals unraveled that put the Ellen Show in a place where it was now being investigated for this alleged toxic workplace environment created by Ellen and her executives. Specifically, 3 of the show's producers ended up being fired after the senior production team was accused of racial insensitivity, sexual misconduct, and other problems in the workplace. In at number 8, Kendall Jenner. With the pandemic, a lot of people celebrating their birthdays had to find alternatives because social gatherings have been severely limited to protect people from catching this virus. However, when you're one of these specials like Kendall Jenner, you can just throw a $1 million party and not get it shut down. During Halloween weekend, as cases in the US climbed to nearly 100,000 per day, Kendall celebrated with a packed party filled with celebrities not wearing masks. In fact, the only people that were smart enough to wear a mask were the staff that she had working this super spreader event. Perhaps one of the dirtiest scandals though was the fact that she had pieces of paper around the party that specifically told people not to post about it on social media. However, once that photo was out, it was game over for Kendall. Twitter absolutely blasted these celebrities for their blasé attitude towards this pandemic. These are the people that we give huge platforms to do good with, and this is how they set an example for their supporters. In at number 7, Meghan Markle. I don't know if it's because I never grew up in the UK, but I could care less about the royal family. Sorry. I honestly think it's insane that people are still paying their salary to basically sit in their castle and do nothing. One person I was excited to see join the family and shake things up was Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle marrying Prince Harry and their departure from the royal family was a massive controversy for everyone across the pond. The decision was made official on March 31st, and thus the couple gave up their titles as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. They even moved to California to just get away from that lifestyle. Reportedly, the Queen was not happy in the way that she found out about this, but she did show support through a statement that was issued later on. In the statement she says, "Harry, Meghan, and Archie will always be much loved members of my family. I recognize the challenges they have experienced as a result of intense scrutiny over the last 2 years and support their wish for a more independent life. I want to thank them all for their dedicated work across the country, the Commonwealth and beyond, and I'm particularly proud of how Meghan has so quickly become one of the family. It is my whole family's hope that today's agreement allows them to start building a happy and peaceful new life." Speaking of the royal family, and at number 6, Prince Andrew. Perhaps one of the biggest reasons that Harry and Meghan got away with their scandal is due to the much messier scandal that Prince Andrew got himself into. When Jeffrey Epstein was caught, his ties to Prince Andrew were one of the most shocking things to come out of the investigation. Prince Andrew tried to claim that he and Epstein were not that close, but his flight logs to Epstein's island implied otherwise. The report suggested that Andrew here even had many of his private holidays personally paid for by Epstein. This association alone was enough for the public to start asking questions. But then when photos were released of Prince Andrew standing with an underage girl at Epstein's home in New York City, this was the straw that broke the pervert's back. Yes, I said pervert's back. Adding more fuel to the speculations were the many photos of him with Epstein's procurer, Ghislaine Maxwell. The wildest part of this scandal was when a victim of Prince Andrew said that he would sweat a lot on her, and then Prince Andrew actually tried to claim during an interview, that he never should have done, that he has this rare condition where he doesn't sweat. He said that while he was sweating. Take a look.
Yes, I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at.
At number 5, DaBaby. This year, rapper DaBaby became one of the latest celebrities to be cancelled. He got into quite the controversy after he said some pretty offensive things while on stage performing at Rolling Loud in Miami. While on stage, the rapper made offensive comments about the gay community as well as HIV and AIDS, calling it a quote, deadly sexually transmitted disease that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks. He also went on to say some more homophobic things about gay men that also added fuel to the fire. Celebrities like Dua Lipa and Elton John condemned the rapper's comments and tried to take the rapper's cancellation as an opportunity to educate the public on what DaBaby said, how it was wrong, and also put an effort into trying to educate the public specifically on HIV and AIDS to put the stigma spread by DaBaby's comments to rest. Because of this scandal, the rapper got into some real hot water with the LGBTQ+ community and lost a lot of support as well. At number 4, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Earlier this year, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry sat down for an exclusive interview with Oprah where they went in depth about their split from the royal family, as well as their feelings of having been part of it. A lot of information was shared as they opened up a lot about their life, and it ended up causing quite the controversy. The couple spoke a lot about their perspective of life in the royal family, raising their son, their marriage, and they also spoke out about their mental health. Meghan even opened up saying that there was a time where she wanted to take her own life. Her confession about having those thoughts ended up causing quite a controversy as people started questioning her mental health and whether that statement was actually true or not. The biggest debate on this topic came from TV presenter Piers Morgan, and he had a lot to say about Meghan and the interview. So much so that he ended up losing his job because he went overboard with the criticisms and hate, and the backlash he started to face made it difficult to continue. This interview was just supposed to be an exclusive interview to check in on the royal couple after they left the royal family, but because of all the information that was shared that day, it blew up into a huge scandal that was in the news for weeks. At number 3, Dr. Phil. Earlier this year, Dr. Phil was exposed and cancelled following rapper Bad Baby's YouTube video where she spoke out about the treatment that she experienced from a youth reform camp that she was sent to after her time on Dr. Phil's show. The rapper, whose real name is Danielle Bergoli, posted a video to her YouTube channel where she opened up about what she experienced, detailing how staff at the camp called Turnabout Ranch treated her and other kids. In the video, she shared how she was taken from her home in the middle of the night, handcuffed, and wasn't allowed to sleep or shower for 3 days. She also told her viewers that staff used restraints on people and that some people had also claimed to have been assaulted while there. Danielle exposed Dr. Phil because he was the one who recommended this camp and has been doing so for such a long time. People were absolutely furious with Dr. Phil because he condoned such a horrific place, and he was cancelled for it. Danielle demanded that Dr. Phil apologize for his actions and for supporting Turnabout Ranch. People find it hard to believe that he had no prior knowledge of what was going on at the ranch, and so when he faced backlash for it all, people said that this was all his own fault. At number 2, Jessie Nelson. On October 8th this year, former Little Mix member Jessie Nelson released her music video for her song Boys featuring Nicki Minaj. After the video dropped, backlash ensued as viewers immediately started speculating on whether or not Jessie was deliberately trying to portray herself as a black woman for the content, and people started calling her out for blackfishing. Blackfishing is a term given when a non-black person alters their appearance to resemble someone who is black or mixed by playing off black aesthetics and styles. In the Boys music video, fans pointed out that Jessie was using a lot of black-centric aesthetics, most noticeably a darker tan. But with this blackfishing controversy came more drama as people started looking into Jessie's past with Little Mix. Soon one of the girl group's members came forward saying that she had actually warned Jessie about blackfishing and how it's wrong, but Jessie still did it anyway, and even went so far as to claim that no one ever commented on it until this video came out. It made a lot of people see how messy this girl group was and had people speculating what really went down when Jessie left the group. And finally, at number 1, Britney Spears. Probably the biggest scandal to come out this year was the Free Britney movement and the drama surrounding her conservatorship. After the Free Britney documentary was released months ago, people got to really see what Britney's life was like behind the scenes and how the people around her led her to where she is today. The biggest concern with this movement was regarding her conservatorship, as the public learned what the singer can and cannot do. Many people said that this hold on her life was too extreme and there was a battle to get her out of the conservatorship held by her father Jamie. Luckily, after multiple court cases, testimonies, family drama, as well as media coverage and social media support, Britney's father petitioned to end his daughter's conservatorship and he was suspended from her conservatorship as well. Now Britney is engaged and has more freedom than she has in a while. At number 10, Lil Nas X. Lil Nas X has been on a roll with his music lately, but with success comes a lot of attention, and when you get attention from the wrong people, bad things can happen. On March 26, 2021, Lil Nas X released his song Montero, or Call Me By Your Name, and both the song and subsequent music video was hit with a lot of backlash. The song itself was about a man he met in 2020 who was living a lifestyle of partying and using substances, who he was seeing. The song included some adult themes, as it would, but the majority of the backlash for this release came from the rapper's music video. The video had a heaven and hell theme and included Nas dancing for the devil, so to speak. A lot of people didn't like the video because of how raunchy it was and because of the biblical imagery and themes. But as if that wasn't enough backlash, Nas also got into some pretty big trouble when he released a collaborative shoe with Mischief that they called the Satan shoe. These kicks were a redesign of the Nike Air Max 97s, and because this design wasn't authorized by Nike, Nas and Mischief got in trouble. They also faced backlash for putting a quote, single drop of human blood in the sole of the shoe. For a couple of weeks, Nas faced all kinds of backlash, but he did not let that knock him down. At number 9, Kim K and Kanye. Another scandal that unfolded this year was the breakup between Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. After getting married in 2014 and welcoming 4 kids together, the couple decided to end their marriage, and it had everyone talking. Kim and Kanye's relationship looked like it had been on its last leg for a while, especially after all the drama between Kanye and the Kardashians following his presidential campaign rant and Twitter meltdowns, and all the statements that the Kardashians had to make on Kanye's behalf. There was, however, a lot more going on behind the scenes that we didn't quite know about, and as this information started coming out, the scandal just got bigger. Every episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians was just another opportunity to fans to dig deeper into Kim's failing marriage and to see where things really went wrong. Since the initial announcement, things have died down a bit, but as more information comes out, like Kanye seeing someone new, fans hop right back on that tea spill train. Now before I carry on with the list, I would like to take a moment to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also consider taking some time to check out my gaming channel Viper Girl. It's super fun and I upload daily, so come check it out and subscribe while you're there. At number 8, Armie Hammer. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this scandal by now, but this one had to be on this list because it was the first one that really blew up this year and it had everyone talking as it involved a more serious issue. Back in January, some of Armie's private messages with other women came to light depicting the actor in a not so flattering way. The messages leaked by the Instagram page House of Effie exposed the actor for his bedroom fantasies among other adult things and created a snowball effect that led to people coming forward with their own allegations of misconduct against the actor. Things took a serious turn and soon an investigation was launched into some of the claims made by some of Armie's alleged victims. Because of the scandal and its severity, this took a huge toll on Armie and his career. As we know, no one is quick to forget a scandal like this in the world of Hollywood, and so as a result of the drama and allegations against him, Armie started losing everything he worked for, including movie roles and representation in the industry. No one knows what the next step is for him, or even if there is a next step for him to take. At number 7, Marilyn Manson. Another really huge scandal that happened this year came from singer Marilyn Manson, and it shocked a lot of people. It all started when his ex-partner, actress Evan Rachel Wood, came forward in an Instagram post to name Manson as someone who had harmed her for a long time. In her statement, Evan cited how manipulative Marilyn was, accused him of brainwashing her, and told her fans about how Manson caused her so much mental, physical, and emotional pain. This caused more people to come forward later on, including Game of Thrones actress Esme Bianco, who came forward with some horrible encounters that she had with Manson. Following this scandal, Manson was dropped from his music label and the LA County Sheriff's Department began an investigation into some of the allegations against the singer. Manson has hit rock bottom in his career and social status, which honestly seems only fair given the pain that he's caused so many other people. At number 6, Chris Harrison. What's reality TV without a little scandal, right? I mean, with every season of The Bachelor or Bachelorette, there's at least one scandal, but this time was different because it was much more serious and it led to someone losing their job. The show's longtime host Chris Harrison landed himself in some hot water this year after he started facing backlash for comments that he made about one of the contestants' past. At the beginning of the Bachelor season earlier this year, photos of one of the Bachelor contestants were leaked which showed her in a few compromising situations, specifically of her attending an antebellum themed party, and many fans saw this as highly offensive and racist. When this scandal first broke, a conversation was obviously sparked, but when asked about his take on the situation, Chris ended up offending people as he responded saying that it was just in the past. In an interview on Extra with former Bachelor/Bachelorette contestant Rachel Lindsay, when asked about this contestant's controversial photos, Chris seemingly was dismissive of her actions, of her being at this party, and continued to try and defend his stance by saying that he didn't want to make any comments before the contestant in question had spoken out first. Instead of helping the situation, fans of the show saw this as perpetuating racism, and so he was cancelled. As a result of this, Chris was let go from the show, and many are under the impression that he will not be returning anytime soon, if at all.
Halfway number 5, Monica Lewinsky. The scandal involving Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky is one of the most shocking of all time, and it's still so interesting to the public that the scandal was outlined in the latest season of American Crime Story titled Impeachment. In 1998, it was exposed that the President of the United States, Bill Clinton, engaged in sexual relations with a White House intern. At the time, multiple other women also came forward to expose his predatory behavior was a pattern. At first, he strongly denied it, but then a woman named Linda Tripp exposed that it was a lie because she had taped Lewinsky talking about her affair with Clinton. After it was exposed that he was a liar and cheater, he was impeached for lying under oath. He was impeached by the House of Representatives but acquitted by the Senate, so he remained in office until his term ended. And at number 4, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson officially lost it in the eyes of the world in 2002 when he dangled his son over a balcony in Berlin, Germany. People were waiting below and were horrified thinking that Jackson could drop him. Michael later admitted it was a mistake in doing so, saying he was simply excited. He said in a statement after the incident, quote, "I got caught up in the excitement of the moment. I would never intentionally endanger the lives of my children." However, many did not accept this statement. Michael's close friend at the time, Uri Geller, condemned his actions, saying, quote, "I just would not put any child over a railing at such a height. I think it was a silly thing to do. He probably did it because he was overwhelmed emotionally by the fans." And at number 3, Martha Stewart. The queen of homemaking, Martha Stewart, shocked the world when she was sent to jail for insider trading. In 2002, it was announced that she was being investigated for selling off thousands of shares of a company called Clone Systems because she learned the stock was going to be dropping drastically and didn't want to lose money in the market. She served 5 months in prison for her crime, but shockingly, her time in the slammer did not affect her career very much. Right after she got out, she was back to work, and now it's safe to say her reputation is completely healed following this incident. And at number 2, Tiger Woods. Golf is generally a game that's pretty boring in terms of scandals. The league of golf is generally very professional, with little to report about other than the results of tournaments. But that all changed when the king of golf, Tiger Woods' private relationship was put on display, and we were all shocked about who he really was behind closed doors. In November of 2009, the National Enquirer exposed that he'd been cheating on his wife with a nightclub hostess. Days later, many other women came forward, and it was reported that he slept with hundreds of women while married. After many years of being blacklisted from golf, Tiger was able to come out on top once again and won the Masters in 2019. Although his reputation has been tainted once again, after reports surfaced that he got in a terrifying car crash. His car went off the road and fell off a cliff, leaving his car flipped. And finally, at number 1, Kanye West interrupted Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's acceptance speech at the 2009 VMAs is easily one of the most memorable of all time. Kanye West's interruption happened moments after Taylor accepted her award and became the start of a long-running feud that has pitted Taylor and Kanye fans against each other ever since. Kanye felt that Beyonce deserved the award more than Taylor and grabbed the mic from her, saying, quote, "Taylor, I'm really happy for you, I'm gonna let you finish, but Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. One of the best videos of all time," before being booed off the stage. Taylor was later left back on stage to re-say her speech, but the damage was already done. Tons of celebrities came out on social media to defend Taylor against Kanye's actions.